Hello?
Yep, there we go.
Perfect. Yeah, and it should record. So before we start, I wanted to share just a sneak peek of what I created for Gutenberg.
Yeah.
So let's just, this is title. Let's make it title. And then, so I created the complete autocomplete, and it's a loose autocomplete. So you can start typing like a blue, and it's going to give you
so
everything from the blue. So if you don't remember if it's a text or like a font blue, so you can do this. And then, for example, I think it's emerald. Yeah, then you can just, and you can start.
All the different options.
Yes, and you can find text, and it's perfect. And then you can just, since it's a text string, it's not like a tag, you can just choose and you update it on the fly. So I think it's going to be awesome, because
it's going to be great.
Yeah, and I try to expand it outside of the Tailwind, and I'm going to try to scrape the database from all the custom classes that you typed in. So you can use the combination of the Tailwind. You can use your own framework, and you can then add like the additional frameworks as well. So I think it's going to be quite good.
That's very cool. I've only just started with Gutenberg with some of the like checkout forms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And on its own, like I've been enjoying Winden, as you know, very, very much across all of the bricks and the oxygen stuff. Yeah. But on its own in Gutenberg, it's 50 wishy-washy. With like some of the things work, some of the things don't work.
Yes.
So this is awesome.
I think I need to bring one more plugin to kind of extend and fully reflect what is in the back end to be in the front end. So I'm actually working on that one. But if you kind of open this one and then you can just group, and then it's behave like a regular div. So that's the thing. And you can also have the helpers. For example, you can, I think, you can convert it here to columns. Yeah. So it's so easy to kind of use it. And I think once you get used to it, I think you will start ditching the rest of the builders.
The systems?
The builders. Yeah. And since this is a flexible to kind of create your own from your own elements from various positions, so you can do it with our extension of the scripts organizer. You can create your own custom written blocks. There is also a ton of other options. So I think it's the flexibility that's going to kill all other builders.
I'm very excited for it. I can't wait to get my hands on it and to give it a try and to start building out some components and templates as well for Gutenberg.
Yeah. And then let's jump to this one. So I was testing, so I'm going to just clean up everything. So this one, so you don't confuse. Actually, you'll just start a new one. Easiest. Yeah. So at this point, I'm using the Play Tailwind because it's the same as the Winden, and the users should kind of understand that. And the only reason I'm using this one, so we don't need to set up the WordPress, and we also get everything without needing to compile. So, or actually to generate the Winden JSON. And what I'm usually doing for a fluid typography and for fluid spaces is I don't use the Tailwind extensions. I use the variables. And the best way to do it is to use the fluid type scale, because if we go here and we start with the basic, you can see the clear URL. But once you start editing the values, it's going to change the URL. So you can actually save this URL, and then you can share, you can for your own reference, you can just copy it, you can paste it here, and then you just comment it, and that's it. You can hold the command and you press it, and you see it here right away. Actually, this is not the SCSS, this is just the plain CSS, or I should use the different
that's all right,
different commenting, but you get the point. It's
100%.
quite, it's quite a good way to not need to create your own profiles here or something like that, so you can just track easily and do the fine tuning even in the middle of the project. So
are you able to and forgive me, I'm not super familiar with all of the fluid stuff yet. Are we able to say, like, hey, use the exact same base Tailwind classes, like, I don't know, text MD or text base, text XL, and then for it to automatically resize based on the device width? Okay, that's cool.
That's the sickest part of the Tailwind. You can do it with the two approaches, and that's one is to extend or overwrite the current one, or you can completely create your own, and then the default one will be just ignored or will be removed. So what I usually do, I usually try to create my own, because the Tailwind have a bunch of those, and I kind of don't need all of those. So, for example, I try to go small, like if we do the spacing, so we can do like small, medium, large, and maybe the base here as well. So the default will be base, and let's start with the 20 so we can easily calculate it. And here you also have the option to show it in RAMs, or if you want to see the pixels right away, and then you can just do the check. Sorry, show output in RAMs. This is the one. And you see, we do the 20 as a base, and then the ratio is 2. So you can see 20, 40, 80. So that's quite easy to see for a testing. And then there is a prefix as well. So instead of the font size, we can use the space, or because we are going to expand the space. And I'm going to kind of explain what the space means in the Tailwind as well. So you just copy this to the clipboard, and then we are going to write it as a root here. Just paste it, and then actually we can have this one. Perfect. So we introduce the variables to our document, and then we can go to the customizing the configuration. So as I mentioned, if you write it under the theme and then the spacing, it's going to ditch the previous default one, and it's going to be replaced, or you can extend it so you can have all of Tailwind spaces plus the one you extended or added. So I prefer to do it like this, and we'll actually show you why as well. So we just add the spacing here, and we are going to use those. And I usually do it like this, so I don't need to remember all of those. So, small, base, medium, and large. We don't need those. Yes, and then just to check the prefix, it's a small space. Okay. So this. Space and this. Sorry, this was, oops. I love when this happens, when some things are just jumping. Okay. And medium, and this was large. Perfect. There is a syntax error. Just a second, the line. Yes, this is the why I love JSON.
It's always the little things, man.
Yeah. But it's good because here you have the error message right away to kind of see where it was. So that helps a lot. And then let's just write the div, and then we will add grid. Perfect. And then h1 test duplicate this. Then let's add the class and text size. How does it? Font size. Yeah. Perfect. I always have to open the documentations in case
I have the same. It's always open on one of the tabs.
It's easy to search, so it's and then this is a background like this, so you see what we are doing. And here we will add the border, and then, for example, red, just to see what's happening here. And then we added the spacing, and if you go to the actual spacing, they tell you what the spacing is, or what the spacing in the configuration is covering. So once you add the spacing, it's going to have the options for a padding, margin, width, height, maximum height, gap, inset, and space. I'm not even sure what this one is, but that's good. So if we do it like this, so we add the gap, and you can see our small, base, medium, and large. And if I do the large, let's start squeezing, and you can see how it's, just a second, I can do it like this. Yeah, preview. And if I do this, you see that it's fluid.
Yep.
And that's perfect, because then you have the CSS variables, you can update those, and it's going to be reflected across entire website. So when the people talking about the Tailwind is not kind of easy to configure, as you can see, it's like 2 minutes, and you have all the variables, all the fluidness, and you can just reconfigure it from one place to kind of reflect the entire website. And then you can do the same for the typography as well. And you just need to go to do, let me find it, font size. Okay, those are the defaults, and for me this is personally hard to remember. So what I usually do is just a second. This is the one. So I usually do the font sizes, and then I go to the configuration, do the font sizes. Always this one. And then I put something like footnote, then this is a base or the paragraph, and then I go like F6, F5 till the H1. And then I do the same here. So I do this to the font or font size, so it's even better, because we can also have the variables for the font families as well. And then I usually do this. So you add this, and then you also add the variables here, and you have the fluid typography in like 5 minutes. So that's the beauty of the Tailwind. You have a lot from the beginning, but then you can easily just stripe the things that you don't need, and create the stuff that you need.
So that's super cool, man. So if just so I'm trying to make sure I understand, if I was to say I wanted to add an additional set of variables like base, small, base, medium, large, I'd essentially go.
You just move them to extend, and that's it. So we move it here,
Yeah.
You move it under the extend, and the extend means that it's going to keep all the existing ones, plus it's going to add those. So if you actually,
I see.
So if you actually go here and do it like a gap, so you see now you have all of those, and if we go to the bottom, here
the new ones.
Yeah, so that's why I told you from the beginning I like to kind of overwrite it instead of piling it even more, because I think once that you kind of created is the ones that you actually need, and the rest for me it's just too much.
Yeah, that's fair. And so if you wanted to switch out keeping the same naming convention, but making them fluid, you would essentially go to hang on.
Then no worries. So if you go to the space, where is the space? I can just
like typography maybe is a good.
Even the typography. So what you can do here is then you need to do this. You go to the configuration and you do this, because you are going to actually replace, and this is the defaults one. And then what I would do, let me just remove this one so it's easier to watch. So I would then go like this. So copy this one. We copied the root. I'm going to remove everything. And then I will just start adding it like this. Oops. Configuration. And then was this a base? Let's just
SM,
like this. I can just replace the base so you get the point. And then do it like this, and this is it. Then the previous one becomes fluid.
Okay, that's super cool. So I'm going to just repeat it to you just to make sure I've understood right. So essentially I would go create my fluid type scale, set that at the root of the HTML file, is it? Or CSS?
Oh, CSS because file? That's where you put the variables.
And then do I keep... Oh, okay, I see. So I'd plug in my variables there, and then on the config file, I use the same names, but then I use the variable name that's
instead
created on the other side.
Hard values. Yeah.
That's so cool. That's so easy. It's fucking awesome.
Just a second, I have some error. Let's see what the error is. So it's on the syntax line 8. It's error here. So this. I don't get what the error is.
Are we missing the on line 13, the comma? Is there a comma?
Okay. And then new theme, font size. Yeah, that's what I hate about the JSON file. One small thing and theme. Here is the comma. Yeah, this is embarrassing. But let me just start a new one.
Yeah, it's all right, man.
So under the theme, we place this one, and then we add this. And for some reason, it doesn't work. So model theme. Something with their setup. Yeah, I need to actually check this one because their default doesn't work for some errors. It's giving the line 7. Yeah. No, everything is fine here. So it's something with their actually They're set to ignore this errors. This is strange, but this is how it works.
Right.
Yeah,
It's Jason.
It's Jason, and yeah, this one works.
Yeah.
Team font size. Huh. Yeah, I need to check this one. I'm going to back to you because it's.
No, that's all right. I think the principle makes sense.
Yeah, and once you get used to this approach, I think you can have your own naming convention that you can apply to everywhere, and then you can just reuse the configuration file, and you can maybe create your own docs with the principle where you use what, like when you use small, when you use large, and stuff like that. And then you just change the values, but then the principles are always the same. So I think that's what helps a lot.
Yeah, no, this is super helpful. It's been not the biggest problem, but the most annoying part with especially larger font sizes on big screens that work well, that you're then for every smaller device switching it out and then changing it around.
Yeah, and I think this clears up a lot, especially in the naming conventions and the logic as well. When you have just H1 to H6, and then you add like a H large or a H gigantic or something like that. So you have something big for the banners, hero banners. But then you don't ruin the base typography, and that's where the users kind of usually stuck. Even if they don't use the Tailwind, they do the H1 to H6, and then they use like out of the proportion H1 values, and then they start changing the blog H1 to H2 and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's right. No, I can appreciate the design methodology. So a lot of all of the design stuff that I learned was from, I think it was like 2012, I want to say, maybe a little bit later, when when they first released Tailwind, they released refactoring UI, which was like a design, 300-page book, and that was like my Bible when I was learning design that I would always go back to. But a lot of the methodologies are like this built into the way you think about how you're coding it then, which I like a lot. So like you have a lot of design kits or templates that's like, here are your 3 colors, like primary, neutral, and secondary color. And I'm like, no, where's my primary 50 to 100, 200, 300?
I know.
And so I could really resonate for that style, but having a way to maintain that and kind of like automate the fluidity of it all is really, really good. And that's the next thing that I'm going to start tackling. So
but
super excited.
Just one mention about that one. That's like the old book I was reading, and my first favorite books is called Making and Breaking the Grid. So what they actually do is they limit you so you understand the core. But most of the people kind of stuck with that, because then they think it's like, okay, but this is only what I need to do. No, that's the principle. So like you're using the 3 colors, but on those 3 colors you can add 10 more. But then you need to understand when that combination, or don't just throw 10 more. You can just use
100%.
one of those 10 more in like a new page. So
no, completely. Like, don't break the rules until you know the rules, sort of thing.
Making and breaking the grid.
Yeah, that's right. But no, even some of the newer stuff, like that button that I was asking you about the other week, completely goes against any design rules. And it's like, no, you have to do things like this. I'm like, but it's a style, and something that I'm working towards, which I'm quite excited. Bye.
But do you want to share something from your design kit? Because I'm quite interesting. I usually don't use them because I'm mostly stuck with a project that definitely needs to rethink everything. So the design kits doesn't usually help me because I don't have those small businesses. So I can just throw the design kit, configure it, and apply it.
Yeah. So, well, there's two parts to it now that I'm working through, but I'll share my screen.
Yeah, please do.
Oh, I can't share. Oh wait, I need you to finish sharing.
I need to stop sharing. Yeah.
There we go. Whole screen. It's like why? There we go. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, perfect.
So there's two parts that I'm working on. One part is the more creative stuff, which is what I'm calling or going to be calling like the core templates. And then the other part is what I'm calling the essentials, which is like super bare bones, no styling. It's just layouts, grids, systems. That's
what you can do. You can actually start applying the principle that I show you now. So you can add the variables, and I think that will help 100%. A lot to users to even just open your design, and then they can change the variables from the inspect, and they can apply all the changes right away.
Yeah, well, even just the color part works quite well. I'll show you the colors in a second, like the way that I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And let me just show you this real quick. So you've got more of the dash lifetime. So this is a work in progress, but this is what I think would be more representative of like the crazier designs, with like the lines that go around it, the things that aren't in the right space in the grid, and breaking some of those rules, but that would just follow, and
awesome
little design, like little artifacts around, little things that you wouldn't notice. That's more of what I enjoy, and what I think will appeal to a certain type of user. And then the other side, there's the more generic ones, which I'm calling the essentials. So essentially, if I go to a category, you'll have loaded up the core ones, which are all the more fancier or different design types, and then the essentials, which are like super basic. Not too much branding.
That's awesome.
Oh, loads up. There we go. Behind it, so it's like no pictures. It's just inherited. And then the way it works on a client site. Let me just stop screen sharing so I can share. Gonna work. Hang on, my Zoom's. I can still hear you, but my Zoom's crashed.
Yeah. And I think that you need to enable the caching because.
I'm back.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think you need to enable the CSS caching because I saw once you start switching between the pages, there is.
It's because I'm logged in as an admin.
Okay.
On this one.
Yeah.
Hang on. Let me show you what it would look like for a user. I will share my screen again.
And how much time you are spending actually on this project? Is it like your full time or?
No, I want to make it my gradually. I'll get there. So I still do client work. Most days, like 9 to 5, usual custom work, and then on the weekends, like today, I spent most of the day or all day working on it. Yesterday was figuring out the integrations and how we could connect with the DPlugins site. It's what I like to do in my free time.
Yeah.
But if I can turn it into, if what I like to do in my free time is just building stuff, I can turn that into a business.
I know.
That would be super cool.
I know. Actually, that's similar what I'm doing with the DPlugins because I'm the art director at the Scandic Hotels.
Yep.
And then I'm consultant as well.
Yep.
And then I'm doing the DPlugins plus the two kids.
Yeah. It's full on, man. But it's like the stuff that guys have been working through on DPlugins has been super, super cool.
Yeah, and that's what actually engaged me. We kind of don't try to kill everything with the prices, so that's why we usually started with the low prices as well, because we need some funding. But then for us, it's exciting what we're building, and then we want to share it to the world as much as possible. So that was our logic from the beginning.
No, it's really cool. And how did you meet Josh? And does Mohammed work in the team?
Yeah, actually, I started building the Swiss knife by myself, but since I'm not the hardcore developer, I'm designer. So I hired the Osama on the Upwork, and then we just hit it on. And then after we built the Swiss knife and the script organizer, the Joshua was already built Asura, and he approached me one day and told me, "Yeah, I think that we will be like a good team. So I would like to kind of join the DPlugins and merge my resources with you." And I was like, "Yeah, awesome!" And we start merging people, so it's perfect.
That's super cool. That's really cool, man. That's awesome. But I've spoken with both of them a little bit over the last couple of months. Well, Josh quite a lot, actually. I bother him all the time. I'm like, hey, what are you working on? What's happening next? Unless he's like on holidays or something. But I haven't interacted with, did you say Omar? Osama much. Other than through different groups, and when he posts, I comment, and I post, he comments, and all that stuff.
Yeah, he is a little quiet, but he's an awesome developer.
Yeah, he's really nice as well.
Yeah. And that's,
sorry.
And that's when you're creating the team, you need to have the workers and the talkers, and that's the part. I think if the Osama and Joshua was working without me, there will be no collaboration. That's the point. So there is the chatty teammate who always brings new topics, and we start talking together. So that's the core of the team.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. It's a great team, man. It's a really good community. Thank you. Very proud to be a part of it, and happy to be a part of it.
Thank you.
So this is what I'm working on. Essentially, client goes in, they fill out their primary color and their neutral colors on Winden.
Yeah.
And then they start with their blank little bricks page.
Yeah.
And then they can go on to what's happening? Yeah. Yep. Here, Winden. Sorry, not Winden. Nintu. And go, okay, I want this. So they click on that one. Wow. There we go. Paste it in, and it updates the colors to their different brand colors. And then that's more or less pretty much it.
Yeah.
They go to the next one. They paste in their next section. Maybe they want one of these. They paste in their next section. And for the most part, it works really, really good. So the only thing that doesn't pull across is the pictures. But it's also not a super hard thing for a user to go back in and replace to put in their pictures. And now all the icons pull across properly as well, and they're all styled with the brand colors too, all back to the initial config file on Winden. And the goal is to just really build this out gradually. More components, more content, and make it something that's really good and competitive. And I've kind of got to the point where I'm like, because initially the plan was to build everything with Winden and then create just a normal bricks variant. And every time I go back to start building the bricks ones, especially when there's more complicated layouts like this part here, it's so painful. It's so difficult to
What's
not
the difficult part?
Well, to start with, there's so much clicking like style and this and then this and this and this, but also just like the little things, like I don't know, setting an image to like using the class inset dash 0, which just applies top 0, bottom 0, left, right 0, instead of having to go position absolute and then go collect the top and then select the next one and then select the next one, and then it takes so long. So at the moment, very much at a point where I'm like, and that's why I reached out to you the other day and was like, hey, instead of me trying to build 2 versions, maybe I could just build 1 version and bundle it with the Winden product. And then that way I can call it a day, and it's like, this is the way you use it, and it's the only way that you use it. And then perhaps I would look into something like all of the... I haven't decided yet if the essential components, so all those like super bare minimum ones, if we make them something that's just free, and anyone can jump in, and that's also a good lead gen piece.
And
collecting emails and
we can also create the sandbox installation, so the user can just log in, and he will have a couple of elements, like free elements, to without setting anything. He can just go and play and see does it work for him.
Yeah, that's right. 100%. But that's the direction that I'm
that's good.
At the moment.
That's good.
And where we're heading.
This will help our users as well to kind of understand where we are heading, where we are going. So I think it is awesome.
Thank you. I'm going to stop sharing.